So, why do we need to talk about this? The normal approach, which many of you are used to probably, is that you have a user account and then you have a subscription bound to that account. This works for the normal Unity personal license, but also for a lot of other tools and services like your Netflix account, for example. It's very simple and clear, but it can only be that simple because those services and tools are mostly standalone. Your Netflix account is not used by another service. It's just meant to be used on its own. What Unity is trying to do in recent years is to build an ecosystem of services that you can use on demand and also collaborate on them. And this makes things more complex. Now you might say, I don't need those services, but then you probably mostly worked on single game projects on your own. This is obviously totally fine, but you are probably taking this course because you want to work with Unity in the future for a while and maybe get a Unity job one day. Then believe me, chances are pretty high that you will need to collaborate or use one of those services. Here we have just a few examples of services that Unity offers. There are many, many more. Some of them are paid, some are free, some are a mix of free and paid. The problem that Unity has to solve is the following. Those services can be combined on various levels, and people need to be able to collaborate with them. Let's illustrate that on a specific example. Imagine you are the user on the left and you have a Unity Pro and a paid Unity Cloud subscription on which you can use the build automation service. You want to collaborate with another developer who only has a Unity Pro subscription but no Unity Cloud, the one on the right here. When you want to use build automation in your project, the question then is who has to pay for it and who is allowed to use it. And this would be difficult to handle with a simple one user, one subscription concept. You can imagine that on a company level, those issues get even larger. And therefore Unity has chosen another path, which I will show you now. So, slightly simplified, we need to understand three concepts: user, organization, and seat. The broad idea is that the organization is sort of the glue between a user and a service. When you create a user, as we just did, you automatically also create your default organization. We can quickly check that our test user Cindy that we just created automatically has an organization. We haven't created that on our own, it's just there by default. You can be part of several organizations where you can access different services. And now, how do organizations manage the access to services? They do it through seats. So here's the broad idea. An organization has seats for certain services. Some of those seats you have to buy, and for some services there is a free tier for a small amount of collaborators, for example. We will see that in a second. Then you can assign users or employees to those seats for as long as they need access to a certain service, or revoke those seats if you don't need those users and employees to use the service anymore, or maybe someone else has to use it. Let's look at a quick example. I have another user which I created some time ago. This user also has an organization, and because he unlocked Unity Cloud, he also has this Unity Teams basic subscription through this organization. When we take a look at it, we can see that in the free tier we have 3 seats available, 2 of which are actually already assigned. So test users Andy's goal was to collaborate on a project with test user Ben. And he did this by assigning him 1 seat on his Unity Teams service. If he needs the seat back because he wants to collaborate with other people, for example, he could also revoke the seat, making it available again. And that's generally how it works. So when you start working on different projects, the situation might look like this. Here I am part of two organizations, one of which has access to Unity Teams, where all 3 seats are occupied. Maybe this is my side project, which I work on with some friends. In another organization, maybe this is my job, where I'm a full-time Unity developer, I have access to Unity Pro because the organization assigned one of the 2 seats to me. They have bought another seat which is currently vacant, maybe because they are just starting and currently still looking for a new employee. I hope this makes it a little bit clearer. We will revisit this a couple of times. For our glossary, we learned 2 new terms. The first one is a Unity organization, which is just a container for projects and subscriptions. And the concept of a seat, which is Unity's solution to allow organizations to manage access to Unity's services. How is this related to version control? Well, as you will see in a second, we access everything about version control and collaboration through the seat in our organization. Let's next see how we can get access to Unity Cloud, where we will also need our organization.